Strasbourg, July 1518. The sun had risen that morning like it always did, reluctantly behind a sky the color of spoiled milk. The cobblestones were damp with sweat from a sleepless night. Strasbourg had been moody all year. Too much famine, too little rain, and just enough religion to keep everyone terrified. Then she began to dance. No music, no festival, no wine. Just a woman, Frau Trophäa, barefoot, silent and furious. Her feet tapped wildly, her arms flailed with forgotten rhythm, and her face was a grimace of sorrow and determination, like someone trying to outrun grief wearing shoes made of fire. At first, the townsfolk watched from behind window shutters and cracked doors. "Ah," muttered old man Belmar, squinting. "Someone must have put too much pepper in her communion bread." By day 3, she was still dancing. Her dress was soaked through. Her lips bled from whispered prayers or curses. No one could tell. When 5 more joined her, the townsfolk stopped laughing. When 50 joined, they stopped talking. Children cried at the sight of their parents flailing like puppets on invisible strings. Bakers dropped loaves to the ground as merchants jitterbugged past, eyes rolled back in a trance. No one could stop. It wasn't dancing. It was a protest of the body, a rebellion of flesh against soul. Arms cracked at the joints, feet bled into the cobblestones. One man tried to stop and sleep, but his legs kept moving in his dreams, like they refused to forget the beat that didn't exist. The priests blamed Saint Vitus, patron of epilepsy and unwanted jiggling. The doctors muttered about overheated blood. The mayor, desperate, commissioned a stage and hired musicians, assuming they just needed a little harmony to calm down. Instead, the music made it worse. The fiddlers watched in horror as dancers jerked with more speed, eyes wild, faces twisted like cracked masks. "God preserve us," whispered the drummer. "They're dancing themselves to death." By week 2, people were dying. Some collapsed in their partner's arms. Some danced alone into alleys and didn't come out. The air reeked of sweat, incense, and cooked flesh, from feet that had blistered through shoes and kept going. Rumors spread. A demon had been summoned by a forgotten sin. A baker had cursed the town with moldy rye, an idea no one liked, especially the baker. It was the end of days, and the devil had chosen Strasbourg to rehearse hell's first musical. One poor man screamed, "It's inside the music," and leapt into the river. He swam in rhythm. By week 4, the government tried exorcisms, prayers, even sending victims to a shrine miles away. Many were dragged there, still twitching in some grotesque tempo. And then, suddenly, it stopped. One day, Frau Trophäa, the woman who began it all, simply sat down and wept. Her feet were raw, bones likely broken. She stared into the dirt as if trying to remember how stillness worked. The others followed, one by one. They collapsed in doorways, church steps, even pig pens. Their bodies stilled, but their eyes danced on, twitching like they'd seen something the rest of the town was still trying to forget. No explanation ever came. Not a good one. Centuries later, they still talk about it. Tourists take pictures by the square where it happened. Locals avoid it at dusk. And if you ever walk those cobblestones alone on a summer evening, you might feel your heels tap just once without your permission. They say the beat never really left. It's just waiting for someone to start again. And if you do, don't be surprised when strangers join you. Unsmiling, silent, in perfect step. And your legs won't stop. Many believed the dancers were possessed, not by a single spirit, but by a collective force. Not demonic in the Hollywood sense, but a spiritual entity tied to suffering, unleashed by mass despair. The idea was that Strasbourg had offended a saint, Saint Vitus, known for punishing the sinful by taking control of their limbs. The dancing wasn't joy, it was penance. A body seized to do what the soul refused. Some mystics believed the dancers were channeling the restless spirits of those who died unjustly, perhaps from famine, plague, or execution. Those spirits sought acknowledgement, and they used the living as vessels to express their torment. The convulsions, screaming, and endless motion were spiritual echoes, not physical illness. From esoteric traditions, thin places sometimes open, where the boundary between the material and spiritual world wears down. In July 1518, Strasbourg may have become such a place. Whether caused by planetary alignments, bloodshed, or ritual, the veil may have torn just enough for something ancient to bleed through, something rhythmic, something hungry. And then it stopped. Why? This is what fuels the eeriness. After weeks of torment, they marched the dancers to a shrine. Some accounts say a relic was placed on their chest, or their feet were washed at the shrine. Whatever was inside them left. Maybe the spirits were appeased, maybe the portal closed, or maybe, just maybe, it didn't. There's a reason people say, don't dance at night on Strasbourg's old cobblestones, don't mock the plague, and if your foot ever taps without your mind willing it, stop, immediately. Some energies wait patiently, a century, a breath, a beat. One step is all they need. Up next on Uncombed Tales, the story of the daughter of a slave who defied every limitation, poverty, sexism, racism, widowhood, and built a legacy out of her pain to become America's first self-made female billionaire. A story that will remind you life rewards the brave. Keep going.
This was us almost 3 years ago. Hair was always dry, broken, and painful to style. Story changed with Juneberry hair butter and wax. It was softer, moisturized for longer, and healthier. This is us now. 5 months ago, we started testing Juneberry smoothie. We didn't expect this length in such short time. Now I don't know how it feels to have dry broken hair anymore.